and my heritage and my family. Let me lock the car, you guys. I can't. I have to get this close to the car to lock it. There we go. I locked the car finally. So welcome, guys. We are here visiting the birthplace of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or as it's been called in the past, still called today, the slang term Mormon, or the Mormon religion. But the official name of the church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. How's it going? Welcome, Wyoming. We are here in Palmyra, New York. What a beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful setting. This is actually called the Sacred Grove. So if you've ever heard of it, or you have any interest in knowing the history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I will tell you a little bit about it today as we walk around. So the church was actually founded by Joseph Smith. He is the first prophet of the church, or the Mormon Church, or Latter-day Saint Church. And this is his childhood home. This is where he was born. This is where he had the vision, where God the Father and Jesus and his son Jesus Christ visited him here in the Sacred Grove. And we're going to talk about that. We'll kind of do a quick tour around. There's a visitor center here. Thomas, thank you. Welcome, active sponsors. Melanie, Mom, Shirley, how's it going? Welcome to Palmyra, New York. And we're going to go ahead and read some of the signs here. So if you're interested in going on a journey with me through the Sacred Grove, through the childhood of Joseph Smith, where he was raised, and how the church actually came to be, then you're in the right spot. Welcome, One Swordfish. Glad to have you visiting. So, creating the farm. This is the very, very beginning. Of course, Joseph Smith lived here with his family, and this is the farm that they had. So let's see what it says. The Smiths selected property that featured all the resources of a first-rate farm: a year-round source of water, fertile soil, gentle slopes, and mature sugar maple trees interspersed with beech, oak, and other hardwoods. They were granted permission to begin clearing the heavy forested acreage just south of their log home as early as 1818. There is the log home right there, right? It's beautiful. How's it going, Pablo? Pablo, we are visiting the birthplace of the Mormon religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is where it started, right here in the Sacred Grove. This is where Joseph Smith had his vision, where he saw God the Father and Jesus Christ. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we go into it. So they felled several thousand trees, some of which were up to 4 feet in diameter and stood more than 100 feet tall. Some of the tree trunks were hewn for use as construction timber. Many were split for fence rails or chopped into firewood. Excess wood was burned to sell the ashes before planting crops. They also had to remove the underbrush and large rocks. So here they are, remove it. And this is the farm right here. I'm driving and listening. Yes, Shirley, glad that you're here. So this was the very first farmhouse right here. And this over here was the farm that they purchased and started to build. So let's go take a look. Hopefully we can look at the little farmhouse. Can you imagine you guys living in a little log house like this? I mean, I guess some of you live in small apartments, so it probably wouldn't be bad, but I'm just imagining the humidity and the lack of AC or air conditioning living in one of these. Yeah, nanners. Awesome. Look, they have the garden. Oh, look at the little pumpkins. You guys, they have peppers left. Looks like not much left in the garden here, but they do have a few peppers. So this was the very first home. And then there's a new one that they built later on. We're going to go to it down here. Let's go inside. Look, Dan was here earlier. Oh my word, I didn't know that Dan visited. So let's see if we can actually, I don't think we can go in. You guys, let's see. Yeah, but you can take a look inside. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, I don't think we can't go in, unfortunately. Oh, nope, it's all locked up. All locked up. I'm sure you probably have to schedule a tour. But here is what the inside of the home looked like. Right here. It's beautiful, huh? Could live there. It's gorgeous, right? Yeah, look at this. Isn't this absolutely spectacular? So Joseph Smith lived here with his family. And this was kind of the scene of all of the revival that was going on here, right? The religious revival back in the early 1800s. Lots of people, lots of religions. Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe I could get a tour. It might be a little too late. Um, Let me see. Let me go up the. I'm going to go to the visitor center, and let's see if we can actually. We'll see if there's some missionaries that want to take us on a tour and tell us a little bit about the religion. Should we do that? Let's go see if they would be willing to. They may not even be willing to. I'm sure they would, but we'll see. I'm just going to ask them if you have to have a tour or missionaries in order to get into the buildings. You probably do. So here's the visitor center right here. Let's go in and take a look and see what they say. Oh, you guys, the mums. Mum, look how beautiful the mums are. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful mums. Okay, I'm gonna turn around. Tour starts inside. Okay, so they do an official tour. Let's see if we can get on a tour here. And then they can talk about it. Oh, how are you? Oh,
Good, how are
thank
you?
you. Thank you.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
You came to see us.
Yeah, yes.
Camera and all.
Camera and all. Is that okay?
Hand.
The camera in hand is okay. Uh-huh.
It's okay.
Well, great.
Eat
So,
on a stick.
well, I'm a live stream broadcaster. I'm broadcasting all over the world to thousands of people right now, and just wanted to show them
What's here?
what's here. Yeah, if that's a possibility. Yeah, great, great.
Well, have a good day, Bob. Yes.
Oh, cool.
So
Might as well find out.
what's happening?
He wants to broadcast us.
Okay.
So I'm a live stream broadcaster on multiple platforms. Have over 700,000 views or viewers, and so just was passing through and saw Palmyra and wanted to show people if that's a possibility. If not, I can walk around and show them.
We
But
can give you a tour of the
Great.
places and tell you all the stories if you'd like to.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Let me get clearance.
Okay.
So I will call and make sure we have clearance.
Great. Sounds good. Sounds good.
This is like, no.
Thank
We do
you.
virtual tours all the time, so I don't know, but it's probably
Yeah.
We're going to broadcast, we have to get clearance.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
That's
'Cause it's
great.
live, that's right.
You guys, I'm gonna mute you for just a second while I chat with them. Okay, guys, they're looking at getting clearance right now, so we'll see if it happens. Yeah, and we will find out here in just a little bit. So, yeah, Chip, I'm talking about overall. So, which is pretty cool, right? I'm sure they would just give them. Yes, that's right, Mom. That is right. So. Yes. Okay, you guys are still getting clearance, so we'll find out here in just a little bit. I may walk outside and start showing you around, or unless, does the tour start in here, or?
We normally have paintings up here. If you want to show them these artifacts, those
We'll
are
look
from
at
the
some,
Smiths. They're
oh,
found in the
cool.
foundation of the log home.
Let's look at,
The Smiths were the only people that ever lived there, so.
great, you guys, look how cool. So these are actual artifacts that were found in the home. Look at those pins. Wow, so cool. So these were in the home here. Here's some nails. Beautiful. Can you imagine Smiths using these items as they worked together and gathered at home? Here we go. So they're getting permission right now, you guys. So we'll find out here in just a little bit. So this is looking out over the farm. Beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful. So here we go.
How long is the tour?
It's about 40 to 45 minutes. Well, 45 to 50 minutes, I guess.
So guys, I'm gonna go and get my battery. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go. Okay, let me find out real quick. I'm gonna go grab my battery just in case, because the tour seems like it'll last maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So let me grab my battery pack just in case we do this. Chip, it's good to have you from over there on Reddit. So good to see you. Welcome to Haps. Broadcasting live on Haps. Normally, we're doing the Beardo Weirdo show, right? If you don't know what that is, join us every Tuesday. Well, not every, pretty much every Tuesday and Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 or 12 p.m. or 10. You guys, I have a lot on my mind. 10 p.m. Eastern Time for the Beardo and Weirdo show, right? So that is a cooking variety show where you can come and hang out with all of the family. We have a good time. Lots of great people on the broadcast. So if you want to experience a little bit of Beardo Weirdo magic, join us on the Beardo Weirdo show. Super fun. Okay, let's see if I can get my charger here, guys. Welcome to Palmyra, New York. Let's see what happens. And if they don't allow tours on camera, you guys, that's okay. We will walk around and I can give you a tour myself because I do know the history of everything here, so which will be really cool. Let's pick the car back up and see. Oh, you guys, the temperature here is amazing. I don't know if you heard, back in Utah, where I'm from, we actually got like 12 inches of snow. Is that Jehovah's Witnesses? No, it's not Jehovah's Witnesses. So it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So they're separate religions. Separate religions. So this church is commonly referred to by the slang word Mormon, which is not the official name of the church. It is a nickname. So the official name of the church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You guys, look how beautiful the mums are. Isn't that incredible? So, yes. Okay, I'm going to mute you for just a second. Okay, guys, sorry, we just got permission, so we are going to go on an official tour of this sacred area, and we will start in here. Yeah, oh, sorry about that, Seong. I was on mute, and so was getting permission for us to go on a guided tour, and we got the permission, which is awesome. So we will see what happens here. So if you want to go on the tour with us, here we go. So this is looking out over the farm. Isn't this beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, right?
She's good. The sisters have got you guys.
Great,
So
great.
you get the better looking ones. They have to put up with me.
It's okay. I'm not actually with him.
Nope, I'm by myself. Oh, oh no, no. So.
You didn't give me two, you don't get the sisters either.
It's okay.
It's amazing. He almost is better than us at
All
least.
right.
Great, great.
Well, I don't know.
We gotta wait at least 5 minutes or so.
Perfect.
So yeah, we just have to wait for them to
No,
get ahead,
no problem.
and then we can start.
No problem. Are you okay with introducing yourself to people?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
okay, you
So-
guys, let's turn this around and we'll have them introduce themselves. So these are the sister missionaries that are going to be taking us on the tour today. You guys, I was a missionary at one time. Can you believe that? Many moons ago. So, but they serve the church. Maybe they can tell you a little bit about themselves and what they do.
Yeah. So my name's Sister Olson. I'm from Utah.
Another Utah in New York, right?
And I'm Sister Hurst. I'm from Idaho. So
What? Idaho, which is north of Utah, of
Yeah,
course.
very
For some people from India in here, so we kind of have to
Oh, that's
explain
Very
where it's at.
fun.
How's it going, Seong? Welcome. Which part of Idaho?
I'm from Blackfoot, Idaho. So very close to Utah.
Blackfoot, Idaho. Yes, indeed. So they're saying hello, sisters.
Hello.
So cool.
Nice to meet all of you.
And so, how long do you come out on your mission?
We are serving for 18 months, but we serve here at the historic sites for 4.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And then we go somewhere else
Oh.
after that.
Where else are you going after this?
So I'm called to Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston. She's going to Boston, you guys. Boston. Oh, we have Idaho Falls in here right
Oh,
now.
nice.
So,
Awesome.
cool.
Idaho Falls real close to me.
Sister Olson's very sweet. Yes. Yes. I say I am a
Yeah.
good friend of Blaine's from India. Yes, you are. And where are you going after this?
I'm going to Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. Okay, Virginia is for lovers, you guys. So we'll see what Virginia's like. So how much longer are you here?
We have
About-
like 2.5 weeks
Is
left.
it sad or
here.
you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's sad, but we're also ready to go out.
It's
Yeah.
exciting but sad at the same time. Bittersweet.
Yeah,
So
cool. Very cool. So we have a Utah sister from Utah and a sister from Idaho. They're here for about, you said 4 months? 4 months here at the Sacred Grove or the church historic sites. So you probably work here at the Sacred Grove, where the Book of Mormon was.
Hill Cumorah
And Hill Cumorah. Oh, cool. So a question that came up earlier: did the Hill Cumorah pageant actually happen? The last one? Did they do it?
So
Are they going
the
to do
2021 didn't
No.
happen. So no, it's
Oh.
just discontinued now. But
You might be in the area. I served in the Boston, Massachusetts mission. Oh,
Yeah,
covers the
so
Connecticut
it's
one.
actually my dad's old mission too. My dad served in Hartford, Connecticut.
oh
as
wow.
well. Yeah.
Very cool.
So
There you go. Thomas served there as well. And Thomas, you're from Idaho Falls. That's cool. Yeah, so nice to meet you. Yep, you guys, we're going to be seeing the farm here. We'll be seeing the historic sites where Joseph Smith, the Sacred Grove where Joseph Smith saw God the Father and Jesus Christ. It's a very sacred place to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, yeah, a nice girl. Yes, yes, indeed. Maybe I served with him. So maybe you did. Do you know what years your dad served? So-
94, 95.
94, 95. 94, 95. Maybe so, yeah. But you guys, it's beautiful. The leaves are just starting to change here, which is awesome, which is pretty amazing, right? Cool. So we're excited to be able to see the sights here. It's awesome. Yep, that sounds about right. Thomas. Oh, you did, huh?
Wait, so did you serve with the Elder Olson then?
Did you
His
serve
first name's
with
Brandon.
Brandon Olson? Oh, maybe so. Maybe so.
Small world connection.
It is, right? It is pretty crazy when you get out there and start broadcasting and you meet people. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah. Well, we're gonna go and see I believe the first site that we're going to see is the log home, the original, or the original site. Anyways, it's probably, has it been rebuilt? Yeah. So the original location of the first home. I did, but not that old. Oh, he was there in 2008.
Oh,
So a little bit
Gotcha.
younger, little bit younger. So, yeah. So you guys, I'm super excited to be able to show you this. I've showed you other sites from the church, which is pretty amazing. And this will be a pretty special one to see. This is the actual birthplace of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you'll hear some of the stories and how it all came to be, right? How Joseph Smith prepared himself to receive the revelation that happened right here, or the vision that happened is pretty amazing. So I did, but not, right? There you go. Cool. All righty. So, cool. I think we're okay. We can walk slow too.
Walking, yeah.
No, that's fine. So we'll start walking, you guys, and see what we can find out. Let me turn it off me. I'll show you the more beautiful stuff outside here. And we'll see what happens. Okay, here we go. Look how beautiful this is, you guys. It is a beautiful day here in upstate New York, or Western New York. We're probably in both. Upstate, Western, right? It can be either one of those. So I had somebody correct me. They're like, it's not really upstate, it's Western. I'm like, okay, that works. That works too. So same thing. Right. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. All right, so here is that home, the log home. It's beautiful. Oh, fun. Look at all the kids, they're having fun here. How to get a picture. How to get a picture in front of it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get you listening to them, okay?
I don't know. Okay.
Let me know if you guys can hear, okay?
If I need to talk louder, I can.
All right. I think he'll probably pick you up.
Cool. So, right now we are in Palmyra, New York, and we are standing right in front of the log home. But a little bit about the Smiths and about this home before we actually get here. So the Smiths, before moving here, were in Sharon, Vermont, and that is where Joseph Smith was born. And they're farmers, and so they have crops, but they have had 2 years of crop failure, and that's the way that they make their money. So they decided they're going to stay there one more year, try their luck, and if this year doesn't go well, they'll move somewhere else. Well, this year ended up being worse. There was a volcano in an Indonesian island known as Mount Tambora, and it erupted in 1815, and it caused so much ash and smoke to go up into the air that it even affected the weather patterns over here in Sharon, Vermont, and New York too. So it caused what is known as a year without a summer. So there was frost and snow every single month of the year, and so their crops obviously failed, and so they wanted to try their luck somewhere else. So Joseph Smith Sr. packed up and moved here to Palmyra, and he saw this land that you guys are seeing now. But this land was covered in trees, and so kind of point
It
your
looked
camera
like that
over
right
It
there.
looked exactly like that everywhere, all over the land.
Wow.
And so they got 100 acres, and they had to clear all this land by hand, manually uprooting every single tree. And they cleared about 20 to 30 acres, and then they finally were able to build a home and move into that home in late 1818 or early 1819. But that was about 2,000 to 3,000 trees that they had to clear. So it took them 2 years to do so. So they finally moved in. They had 8 kids at the time, with 1 on the way. So Lucy Mack Smith was pregnant with Lucy Jr. And so they added on to the home a little later as a nursery for Lucy to be in where she could live close to her parents. So
Wow. 8 kids, you guys. Oh, 9, right?
later on,
9 kids right there. I don't know about you, but that's
so 11 people total.
11 people in this home right there. They probably didn't need a lot of space, right? They wanted to be outside. It was probably hot.
Yeah.
Anyways, during the
Very
summer.
hot. Very hot.
Cold during the winter.
And cold.
So they'd be inside
Yeah.
during the winter.
They just all had to be really close, right, Melanie? Yes, tight quarters, but probably happy in there. So cool.
Just gotta wait for that group to come
Oh,
out.
you're
Like,
fine.
we're waiting
You're
for a
fine.
group to
No
come
problem,
out.
you guys. There's a group in
If
there
they have
right now.
questions, have them ask
Yeah, if
questions.
any of you have any questions about the farm, about this area, about the church, anything, feel free to ask. We will all do our best to answer that. But look at the beautiful leaves. So that kind of gives you an idea of what this area looked like before. Can you imagine having to come into that area and remove that many trees? Oh my goodness, you guys, that would have been quite the task. I probably would have been showing up and been like, do I want to be a farmer still, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to be a farmer?
Without chainsaws, without tractors, without anything.
Yeah,
so,
no-
hand doing it.
Yeah, no chainsaws, no tractors, nothing, clearing this whole entire area, which is pretty amazing feat. And imagine getting stumps. That would have definitely been a feat. You guys, earlier it was pretty sunny when we heard. Yes, Red. It's pretty warm today. It's unseasonably warm in this area. Like in Utah, you guys, it's cold. We had almost 12 inches of snow in Cedar City the other day, which is pretty amazing. Okay, so we are getting ready to go in the home.
Before we do go inside, it's just a replica, but it is built back the same way. This would have built it to the same size and dimensions, and also stands on the original foundation of the log home. So this is the exact space where the Smiths lived. So we'll take you guys inside.
Watch your head as you do that.
Stand in the doorway.
Oh, you guys, look how short the door
I'm only
was.
5'7".
5'7", 5'7", right there. Looks like it's a tongue and groove type log style home. Here we go. Wow. Just imagine living here.
And you can do the comic room too.
Wow.
Very small. It says kitchen, dining table area, laundry room in the corner right there.
Yeah.
Very small space.
So we have about 200 people watching right now. So this is exciting.
Perfect.
So
Awesome. But you can see back here as well. That is the master bedroom and that add-on we were talking about in there for baby Lucy when she was born.
So this is the master bedroom, guys. Wow, this looks like, this is a typical New York City style size of home, but this is the actual master bedroom. And that is the added nursery back there for the ninth child right there. Absolutely incredible. And this is the exact location of the original house. You guys, and but this has been rebuilt, of course, rebuilt. So here we are.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to see it. So this over here, this is where all 11 members of the family, they would all gather together and they'd eat dinner together. And they'd talk about eating dinner and they'd talk about what they had for dinner, how the work was going on the farm, all these different things. And over here, we can actually see a time period Bible that we have here. And so this is not original to the Smith family, but it looks like one that they would have had at the time.
Wow.
And so the Smith family, they were very religious. They talked about religion all the time. Here in 1820, that was actually when there was a lot of religious revival, a lot of churches popping up, a lot of different churches. And so there was a lot of people, they would take verses from the Bible and they would take those verses and they would interpret them in different ways. And so there was a lot of different churches popping up. All these different churches are popping up in the Smith family. They believe in God, but they're not exactly sure how to worship at this time. And so they're trying to figure out how they're going to worship, how they're going to do these things. And so the Smith family, they are going to all these different churches. They're going to all these different churches and they're trying to figure out which church is true. And so all the Smith family, they're going to different churches, and Lucy Mack Smith, she is the mother of the family. She actually chose to be Presbyterian, and she went to that church. And then Joseph Smith Sr., he actually chose to be just privately religious. He chose that he wasn't going to go to church at all, that he was just going to read his scriptures on his own. And so that is pretty confusing for all the children here. We have the mother who's going to church, and we have the father who is not going to church. So that would be pretty confusing for all the 9 children to decide which church they want to go to. And Joseph Smith Jr., he was one of the children, one of the brothers of the family. He was 14 years old at the time. And Joseph Smith Jr., he didn't know which church to go to. So he is going to all these different churches, and he's trying to find out which church is true here. And so he's going to all these different churches, and he actually goes to a church and to a sermon, and the minister calls out the verse James 1:5. And that verse is found in the Bible. It's actually open to on this one right here. So it's opened up to there on the Bible. And basically James 1:5, it's right over here on the side over there. It says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him." And so that scripture, basically what it was saying to Joseph Smith at this time is that if he has a question, if he doesn't know which church is true, he can go straight to God, and he can ask God and pray to God and ask which church is true. And so that struck Joseph Smith pretty powerfully, because as a 14-year-old boy, he didn't know which church was true, and he wanted to know which church was true. And so he ran home and opened up his own Bible here and continues to read the scripture over and over again. And eventually decides that he is going to do that he is going to ask God and pray and ask which church is true. And so Joseph Smith, he's only 14 years old. I mean, imagine, a 14-year-old boy is not very old. He actually decides to walk down. We have these stairs over here. So he walks down those stairs, and he actually opens up this back door over here. And he opens up that back door, and he goes out to the woods behind his home, goes out to the grove of trees back there. And so he goes out there, and he goes to a place where he decided he was going to go to earlier. He was working out there, and he decided that that was a good place to go. And so he left an axe and a stump over there, and he goes to that place, and he looks all around him, and he sees that he's alone. And he actually kneels down to pray for the very first time aloud. And so he kneels down to pray, and as he begins to pray, there is this dark power that just entirely overcomes him. It binds his tongue so that he can't even speak. He can't even open his mouth. And you can imagine this is a 14-year-old boy. I mean, a 14-year-old boy all alone in the woods, and he thinks that he's going to be destroyed. And it's not by an imaginary power. It is this very real power that has overcome him. But Joseph Smith here, he calls on God. He prays to him and asks him to save him and to deliver him from this power. And just before he's about to give up that prayer and to give up to that destruction, Joseph Smith says, "I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, above the brightness of the sun, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. When the light rested upon me, I saw 2 personages, whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air. One of them spake unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, This is my beloved Son, hear him." And so Joseph Smith at this time, he in reality saw God the Father and Jesus Christ right out in the grove behind his home, out of this home here. And Jesus Christ, he was able to see him in 2 personages, 2 different people. And Jesus Christ was able to come to him and tell him that none of the churches were true at this time, that they did not contain the fullness of the gospel here, that he needed to wait a little bit longer until the fullness of the gospel was back here on the earth again. And so that's what Joseph Smith did. He decided to wait. He decided to wait for 3 years until he could have the fullness of the gospel back on the earth again. And so this experience, it was pretty powerful for Joseph Smith. It helped him learn a lot about Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father here. Helped him learn that they know us, that they love us, and they know all of our names here. Now they're 2 separate beings here. And so that's pretty special. He was able to wait for 3 more years until he received further instructions.
So we'll take you guys upstairs and continue on to the story.
Guys, we definitely get our exercise up these stairs every day. Pretty narrow. Wow.
It is kind of dark outside.
Wow.
Okay,
so this is called the garret, and this is where all the siblings would have slept. So you'd have 6 boys sleeping in this room. There'd probably be another bed in here. There's only 2 now, but there would be a third one. And then there's a smaller room over here, and that's where the girls would sleep. So the sisters were Catherine and Saffronia, and that's where they would sleep.
Wow. Had a little bit of privacy, huh?
A little bit, just a little bit from the
Wow. So 2 per bed, or probably more, huh?
about 2 or so.
2 plus per bed. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But 3 years after Joseph saw God the Father and Jesus Christ, he had a religious discussion with his family downstairs, as they normally do. And he's 17 at this time, and as every 17-year-old would, he has made a couple more mistakes. It wasn't anything too serious that would make him a horrible person, but as we all do, we all make some silly mistakes here and there. And so he wanted to know how he could be forgiven of these mistakes that he had and where he stood with God. And so this night he comes upstairs. It's September 21st of 1823. And he waits for all of his siblings to go to sleep. And then he begins to pray again for a second time. And his prayer is answered through a heavenly messenger whose name is Moroni. And Moroni appears to Joseph Smith. And Joseph is the only one who sees the angel Moroni. But right now, you guys are in the space where the angel Moroni appeared. We don't know of very many other places of the exact location where a heavenly messenger has been, but this very room is where Moroni appeared. And he told Joseph of this book that's written on gold plates, and it contains an account of people who had lived in the ancient Americas, and it contained the fullness of the gospel as Jesus Christ had given it to those people. And Moroni told Joseph that Joseph would be restoring this work, and it was called of God specifically for him. And then Joseph, he was left to just ponder about these things for a long time, because Moroni also told him a lot more about the gospel of Jesus Christ, how we will be able to have temples where we can be sealed with our families forever, and about priesthood power and authority and how it will bless and change our lives, and about the Book of Mormon. That was the gold record. It's now known as the Book of Mormon today. And Joseph would translate this by the gift and power of God. And then the angel Moroni went away, and he came back just a short time later. And he repeated this same message. And then he added a warning to Joseph that when this work is restored, adversity is going to come to the world. There's going to be all sorts of pestilence and other things like that that will roam the earth because the fullness of the gospel is here. And so Satan's going to try harder to lead us astray from this covenant path, from this true work. And so he gave him that warning, and he went away again. And then he came back for a third time. And this third time, he again repeated the same message with the added warning, and then added another warning that when Joseph saw the plates, he'd want to use them for money to get rich. This is 50 to 60 pounds of gold, and it could easily get his family out of poverty. They were not a wealthy family. And so the angel Moroni told Joseph that he would be tempted to use the plates for that. And he went away that third time. And as soon as he went away that third time, Joseph, he heard the rooster crow outside and the sun was rising. He realized that his visits with Moroni lasted all night, and he had gotten no sleep at all. But, I mean, it kind of relates to us too. How many times have our parents asked us to do something 3 times? I mean, it means it's pretty important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Joseph knew the importance of this, but he was a farm boy. And he knew that the farm comes first. That's how farmers are. I'm a farmer, and the farm comes first. And so he went and worked in the field with his father and with his brothers. But we will continue that story on downstairs.
Great. Guys, can you imagine doing this every day? Let me show you out the little window that they had here. Right. Here we go, downstairs. They're a little quicker than I am. Here we go. Okay,
We have
guys.
lots of practice.
Right, lots of
Yeah.
practice. Yep. All right, here we are back outside. That is beautiful. Wow. So that's where we were just at, right there.
We can continue on the story. We can walk as we do.
Yes.
Stand, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's
here.
fine. We can walk. We're good with walking.
Okay, perfect. So we are walking right here. This is Stafford Road. This is the old road that they would have had right here, the main road. But over to continue our story, Sister Olson talked about how the angel Moroni visited 3 times in one night. And so he visited 3 times, and then Joseph Smith, he goes out into the fields to work. So he's out in a field that looks a little bit like these over here. So he's out in the fields and he's working with his dad and with his brothers. And his dad kind of notices that he's not working as hard as he normally does. I mean, if you've ever pulled an all-nighter, you know that is not very fun. You're pretty tired for the rest of the day. And so he's working and he's falling behind and he's actually a little bit pale. His dad notices this and sends him home so he can go and get some rest. And so Joseph Smith, he goes home and he's trying to go and get some rest, but he's walking through the fields and he actually crosses over a fence. Probably a lot like these ones that you see over here. He's crossing over a fence by the apple orchard and he is so tired that he just trips and he falls over that fence. And he falls there and he's laying there and he's underneath an apple tree here. And he's laying there and he hears his name is being called. And he looks up and there for the 4th time is the angel Moroni telling him the exact same thing, that he needs to go and find this record here that Sister Olson told you about. He needs to go find these golden plates. And so the angel Moroni also told him he needed to tell his dad about these things. He needed to get up and tell his dad that he's been having these visits. And so Joseph, he's obedient and he gets up and he goes and tells his dad about these things. His dad tells him that this is the work of God here, that this needs to go and happen. He needs to go to the hill Cumorah and he needs to find this record here. But as we are talking about the angel Moroni, we do like to point out that we do have one of our temples over here. And the angel Moroni, he is actually sitting on top of one of those, or on top of the temple there. So you can see up there.
There it is, you guys. This is the Palmyra, New York temple. Right there. It's beautiful, huh?
Yeah, but this is actually on the 100 acres of the Smith family farm.
Wow.
This temple here.
Wow.
So it is pretty special to have it there because you can actually stand over there by the temple there and you can look from one holy place and you can actually look over into the sacred grove, which is just behind us over here.
And this is the
Which
sacred
is
grove.
Pretty special because that experience that Joseph Smith was able to have in there when he was able to see God the Father and Jesus Christ, that's the whole reason why we have temples like this today. Why we're able to make promises with God in those temples. So pretty special to be able to have.
Yes, that's amazing.
But we can continue walking,
Yeah.
continue our story over here.
Absolutely.
And so, to continue, Joseph Smith, he's walking along this road. He's walking 3 miles away. It's in the 3 miles away is the hill Cumorah here. And so he doesn't have a car. He's not driving. He has to walk those 3 miles all the way over to the hill Cumorah. And as he's walking, he is pretty tired, and he starts to wonder about the worth of these plates, about how much this is worth. Because again, this is 60 pounds of gold here. That is a lot of money, and his family is in a lot of poverty. And so he thinks about this, but he gets up to the top of the hill Cumorah, and he finds the rock that they are hidden underneath. And so he finds that rock, he lifts up that rock, and inside are the golden plates. And he reaches in to grab them, and he is shocked. And he's not able to actually take these plates at this time. The angel Moroni, he comes back to him and tells him that he's not ready to take these plates yet. That he has to align his heart and his mind with God. He has to make sure he's ready to just translate these plates. And so he tells him to come back next year to try again next year. And so that's what he does. He comes back next year, tries again next year, but he's still not ready. And so this continues to happen for every year for 4 years. Until finally in 1827, so he started in 1823, but finally in 1827 he's able to take that record, the golden plates, and he's able to take them home so that he can start translating them. And that home that they take him to is actually the home we're coming up on right over here.
Cool. Can you guys imagine like being prepped that long for saying, oh, you can take him, you can't take him, but then he's finally able to. How's it going, Peter? So just if you're joining, we are here at the Sacred Grove on the Smith farm. This is actually the birthplace of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In the past, it has been referred to as the Mormon Church, which is a slang word that was given to the church, but the official name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So we're here with Sister Olson and Sister First, and they are our tour guides on this very sacred place to the church. So here's the home that she was talking about right here, guys. Look at this. Wow. So this was a little bit of an upgrade from...
Yeah, you'll be able to see it when we go inside.
I'll tell you a little bit more about the home outside, because that other picture is inside still.
Yep.
So, this home was primarily built by Alvin Smith. He was the oldest of the Smith brothers, and he was engaged at this time. So he was building this home for his future family to come and live in, but also for his parents to come later to have a more comfortable home, because it was so much bigger than the log home. And that was just the responsibility of the oldest son, was to take care of their parents in their later years. So he started building this home in November of 1822. Was working on it for about a year, had a third of the home done, and then he suddenly passed away of what could have been appendicitis. We are not exactly sure. It was some kind of stomach bug, but it's believed to be appendicitis. And he just left his family to finish the home. And it was extremely hard for the family too. Every time they worked on it, it just reminded them of Alvin. And that was hard because all the people at the time, all the pastors and preachers told the Smiths that Alvin had gone to hell because he wasn't baptized, and that he was saved and he was lost forever, which we come to know is not true, but that was just extremely hard. And so they would just have so much grief and would mourn every time they worked on the home. So they hired some contractors to finish the home for them. It was finally completed in 1825, and that's when the Smith family finally moved in. And in 1827, Joseph Smith brought the plates to this very home. So that's pretty special. One of the last things that Alvin said to Joseph was to be a good boy and do everything in his power to obtain the gold plates and keep the commandments. And then Joseph brought the plates home to the home that Alvin built. And so that's pretty special. But this home is also special because it is 85% original.
Wow.
And so there are original floors and walls, bricks, ceiling beams, joists, all sorts of things. And so this is literally the home the Smiths lived in. And yeah.
Right.
I think he's still in there.
No
I
problem.
tried to go on
I was like, any questions?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions so far? Put them in the comments.
Yep. If you guys have
and
any questions, let us
answer.
know. We can answer those here on the broadcast. So this right here is the Sacred Grove. So was Joseph Smith living in this home when he went out to pray?
When he had his first vision.
His first vision was when he was living in this home, and he went over into the grove of trees that are in front of us here, and that is where he had the first vision, where he saw God the Father and Jesus Christ appear to him right there in front of us. And then the Hill Cumorah, how far away again is it from here? 20 miles? 3 miles. Okay, 3 miles. I was like 20 miles, right? 3 miles in that direction is the Hill Cumorah, where the gold plates were buried. And he was prepped for several years before he was allowed to actually get those gold plates. So you missed the beginning. Where are these plates now? So we'll ask them here in just a little bit where the plates are now and how you can know what is on those plates, right? So yeah, they are both incredible narrators. They are, absolutely. So they have been here for 4 months right now, doing their mission. They're going to be leaving here soon, and one is going to Boston and the other is going to Virginia. So yeah, cool.
Okay.
Great,
Yes.
great. Okay, guys, here we go.
I can show you some original.
Just answer these questions now.
Yeah, you can ask me now.
Either way.
So one of the questions is, where are the gold plates now?
Okay.
So
So the plates have been returned to Moroni. Back in his prisons, they were the record of Moroni's father, and a bunch of different prophets from that time as well. So if you know the Bible, you know of prophets. We still have prophets today talking to us, but after Joseph finished the translation, the plates were no longer needed, and so he returned them to Moroni. Moroni was the one who kept this record safe. It was a history of his ancestors, and so Joseph returned back to him. I'm sure it was a very relieving time for Joseph to have him out of his presence because so many people tried to find them, and also for Moroni to have him back into his presence because these were very special plates, and I'm sure he was just nervous the entire time Joseph had them. So
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let me see. I'm sure they can give us some more information towards the end of the broadcast where you could maybe take an additional tour, or there's people asking if you have an app or something where they can get more information, or anything like that.
Definitely. You want us to answer that now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and
Okay.
answer it now, guys.
So, so for at least tours that we have, if you go to churchofjesuschrist.org, there's a lot of different historic sites that we have around here. And so we have 5 different historic sites just in this area over here. And so there are virtual tours that are offered there that we'll be able to get on and give you a tour, a virtual tour of all these, just kind of like we're doing right now. But you can go onto that website and you can search up the New York and Pennsylvania historic sites here, and you can go on and you can go and sign up for a tour for us to be able to give you some of that history that we have here and how it all started here.
Great.
And so in churchofjesuschrist.org, that has a lot of resources for, really any question that you have here. So yeah, really anything. Does that answer your question? Any
Yeah.
additional
yeah.
any additional
Yep.
things?
So, for those of you that are wondering, the gold plates were actually translated into the Book of Mormon.
Yes.
So people were asking how they could read the Book of Mormon or get a copy of the Book of Mormon.
So if you download an app called Gospel Library, it has the Book of Mormon, it has the New Testament and Old Testament, and you can read the Book of Mormon there, or you can go to your local church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints around your area, and missionaries can give you a Book of Mormon and even teach you more, just like us.
Great, you guys. So visit that website. You can also find out more information on that. Is there a trail that leads to the actual discovery place on the mountain?
So the Hill Cumorah where the place was buried.
Yes.
There is not. We do not know
The
where.
exact location.
Yeah, we know it was towards the top on the west side because of an account that Joseph gave. But since Joseph's time, many people tried to farm on the land, and so lots of the land was either destroyed, and it's possible that the rock was even taken out with the farming that they were hidden underneath. And so we don't know the spot. It doesn't exist, but it is
But we
place.
can tell you where the Hill Cumorah is. You can go on top of the hill. We
That's
just
great.
can't tell you the exact location where they were buried. But you can go on top.
That's great. But you can read the record in the Book of Mormon, guys. So if you're curious what was translated, it is in the Book of Mormon. Okay, here we go into the updated Smith home, just down the road.
And we would now be in Manchester back then.
Oh, this is Manchester. Okay.
Back then. It's
Back
still
then.
Palmyra now, but back then it'd be Manchester.
It was Manchester. Okay, look at this. Yeah. Here is the home.
Yes, you can see.
Master bedroom right here.
Creaky door, sorry.
Here we go.
So master bedroom, you can see a lot bigger there.
Wow. Yes, much bigger, more comfortable.
Yes. And then you can see the parlor in here. So again, much bigger in the log home. The master bedroom was also doubled as a parlor. So now they have a separate parlor outside their bedroom now.
Wow.
So a lot bigger. And in here you can see some of those original things. So on these walls here that we do have, these back walls, those are all original walls. Also, if you look up, all the floorboards upstairs, along with all the joists and the beams, are all original to the home here.
Wow.
And so a lot of the frame is original of this home here.
Wow.
And then we also have these bricks right here also. These bricks are original to the home. There's actually a pretty cool story about them. Okay, perfect. Pretty cool story about this. So as we did mention, this is the very first home that the golden plates were brought to. But that also means that this is the very first home where a lot of people came to steal these plates as well. These are 60 pounds of gold, so a lot of people wanted to get them for the money value. And so there is one time where Joseph Smith, that road that we were just walking on, he was running down that road. And he's running down that road and he comes into the house and he hears of this mob that's going to come and try to find these plates. And so he runs here into the home, and with the help of the neighbor, he actually pries up these exact bricks right here, because these are original bricks. He pries up these exact bricks here and hides the golden plates underneath there. So he hides them underneath there, and the rest of the family, they run out of the house and they are screaming and they're banging pots and pans together. They're trying to scare this mob off their property. And eventually they scare everybody off their property here, but just soon after that, there's actually a neighbor who really wants to find these plates. And so this neighbor, he hires somebody known as a rodsman. And a rodsman has a divining rod. And basically what a divining rod is, it's used for very practical uses. It's kind of like two sticks that are used to find water underneath the earth, so you know where to dig your wells. But at the same time, it's also used to find treasure. It's kind of like an old-fashioned metal detector. And so this man, he comes up to the door, this rodsman comes up and he knocks on the door, and Joseph Smith comes and answers, and they tell him that they just want to talk. They just want to talk about some things. And so they come on in here into the parlor, because that is where you entertain your guests. This is where you talk to your guests, is in this room. And so sure enough, this rodsman, he takes out his divining rod. And he starts looking around this room, and he actually comes over to these bricks over here. And when he comes over here, his sticks right here, they cross, and that tells you that there's treasure there. And so he points down and he says, the plates are under here. And he was exactly right. The golden plates were right underneath these bricks right here. And he was so excited because he just found 60 pounds of gold. He was never going to have to work a day in his life ever again. But before he was able to actually come over here and pry up these bricks here, Joseph Smith, he comes up to him and tells him, no, the plates are not under there, and you need to leave the house right away. And so this man said, okay, and walked out the front door, just like that. And I don't know about all of you, but if I have this divining rod, this old-fashioned metal detector that can find things, I wouldn't be so certain I didn't just find the golden plates right here. I mean, it'd be pretty easy to just lift one up and just check and just make sure that they're not under there. But this man, he didn't fight it. He left. He left the house here. And that just goes to show that Joseph Smith, he made a promise to protect these plates when he got them. He made this promise to not show anybody the plates and to just use them to translate, not to use them for any money. And so he made this promise, and so he did everything he possibly could do to protect them. And so God, he helps protect them the rest of the way. God, he came and he convinced this man. He convinced this man that they were not here underneath the bricks right here. And that just goes to show that Joseph Smith, he had help from God to protect these plates here as well. So pretty cool to be able to see that.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
I look around in here, it's definitely a lot bigger than the log home.
Yeah, right?
A lot more comfortable for sure. Alvin, he really wanted to spoil his parents and his future family as well. He really had them in mind when he was building this home. But there is another story where Joseph hid the plates in this home, and it's actually in this room right here. So this is believed to be Catherine and Saffronia's room, his two sisters. These two sisters are about 10 years apart in age. They would be 21 and 11 at this time. And it was nighttime, so all the family was asleep. But Joseph was being chased by a mob. He had the gold plates with him, and he was running from this mob. Now keep in mind, these plates are 50 to 60 pounds. And yet Joseph is outrunning these
Wow.
men. And so he is running on Old Stafford Road that we were just walking with you on. And Catherine hears some chaos going on outside. And so she runs to the door to see what's wrong, and Joseph is standing there, and he gives her the gold plates wrapped in a cloth and says, I need you to hide these quickly. And he takes off running in the other direction in hopes that the mob would follow Joseph and not come into the home. So Catherine, she's 11 years old, she has these plates, and out of all the places in the home, she runs into her room with her sister Saffronia, who is in bed. And she puts the plates in between her and her sister and throws the covers over their head and pretends to go to sleep. And this mob ends up coming into this home. They don't follow Joseph. And 2 of these men even get into this room. This mob is just tearing up everything. They're looking, just destroying the home. And these 2 men come in here and they're looking through all the sisters' things, they're looking underneath the bed, and then they see that the girls are sleeping. And they decide to let them sleep and just leave. Which is pretty crazy, right? It's a very kind mob.
Wow. Wow. Right.
And, you know, these sisters, Catherine especially, she acted in faith. She acted on her very first prompting to hide them with her. She could have easily put these plates somewhere else, but she kept the very item that this mom was looking for right next to her. And she had faith that the Lord would protect her and that she would not get hurt. And she could have easily gotten hurt. But it took an act of faith. And sometimes doing everything in Joseph's power to protect these plates just meant relying on his family. Our families are there to support us, and God puts us in families for a reason. And his family was very supportive. And that's just one of many stories of where his family, especially his sisters and the woman in his life, helped him protect and preserve these plates. But this home would also be a place where lots of friends of Joseph's would help in the translation and work in coming forth of the Book of Mormon and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oliver Cowdery, for instance, he was a scribe for Joseph. So as Joseph would translate, Oliver would write down the words. He would have been taught about the plates and the work that Joseph is doing in this very home. And he would later go and help Joseph tremendously in this work. You would see Martin Harris here a lot. Martin Harris was a bit older than Joseph, but they were still really good friends. And he helped a ton. He was a very faithful man. He provided money for Joseph to travel to Harmony. He provided money for the Book of Mormon to be published. He sacrificed a lot. And we love Martin, we love Oliver, we love all these men. They were all very faithful and had the power of God in them to make this work come forth.
Great. Wow. Wow, that's quite the story. I can't imagine how they felt. That would have been terrifying, right? So quite an upgrade on the home, but great, guys. Beautiful home. All right, here we go. The restrooms. The restrooms right here, right?
Yes, modern day outhouse.
Modern day outhouse, yes. Oh. Oh, you're good. No problem. So you guys, here is the, looks like maybe this is where the water was. Isn't this absolutely beautiful? A garden area here. Here we go. Beautiful. So, I bet this is where they got their water. This might have been their well right here. Beautiful, guys. And the leaves are just starting to change here. And then over here in front of the house is a Sacred Grove area. Isn't that incredible? But 80+% of this house is still original, right? Very brave. Yeah, they would have been very brave to do that. So cool. Very cool. So
Okay.
all right.
Walk this way.
Yes, we're gonna walk this
But
way,
yes,
guys.
as
Let's
you
see.
do see, you can see this pretty big tree right here that we have. That tree is actually dated back to the time period when the Smith family would have lived here.
Wow.
So very, very, very big. You can see almost 200 years old.
If it could talk, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. I wish it
Exactly.
could. Oh,
But
goodness.
actually back then there was a tradition that when you lost a loved one, you would plant a tree in their honor.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know for certain, but we do like to think that maybe this tree was planted for Alvin.
Wow.
So kind
Wow.
of a sweet thought. This tree actually is a black locust tree. That is actually a very good woodworking tree. Alvin was a very good woodworker, and so he would have really liked this tree right here. Now, black locusts, they actually live for about 100 years, and that's it.
Wow.
Well, this one is 200 years, and it's still growing.
Wow.
So again, we don't know for certain, but we do like to think that maybe it was planted for Alvin.
And Alvin again was the brother,
It was
right?
the brother, the oldest brother that passed away building
Wow.
this house here.
Wow. Wow, that's a cool story. That's a really very beautiful. Is that Fayette, New York? No, this is Palmyra, New York. You've been here, Richard. Okay, cool. But originally you said it was called what before Palmyra?
So this is now Manchester. The log home that we were in with Moroni's visit and the first vision, that home would be Palmyra back then, and we would now be in Manchester. We're still technically in Palmyra now with the borderline changes, but
Back
yeah.
then.
Back
They
then-
moved from Palmyra to Manchester,
Wow.
which was
Just down the street.
Yeah.
Just down the street, you guys. Okay. But now it all is
Now it's all
Palmyra. Oh, look at the barn here. It's beautiful.
So a little history about this barn. This is not the Smiths, but it is original to Brigham Young's dad.
Oh, wow.
So this is John Young's barn. It was moved here from Mendon, New York, which is about 30 miles or so away from here. The
Great.
Smiths had one very similar, just a little bit smaller would be the only difference.
Wow.
But this is their threshing barn. And threshing is separating the grain from the stalk and the chaff as well. And so we will actually do a little demonstration for you guys of how this was done.
Great. Yes.
If we were working with wheat today, we would bring the wheat in and we'd lay it on the ground and we'd have these barn doors closed. And then we would take this is called a wooden flail. And there would be 2 to 3 of the Smith boys working in here at a time. So they would take this wooden flail and they'd fling it around their heads to get momentum and they'd whack down on the wheat. And that would separate the grain and the chaff from the stalk. And they'd do that over and over and over until it was all separated.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So then they would gather up the stalk of the grain and put it into an area like this one over here. And they could use that for bedding, or they could bale it and sell it later on.
Wow.
Used for many different things. So then, all you have left on the ground is the grain itself and the chaff. And the chaff, for those of you who don't know, imagine like a popcorn kernel and the outer protective shell of the popcorn kernel. You don't want to eat that, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of it. And so they would be separating that. So they would then, instead of getting on their hands and knees and picking this out, they had a faster way. So they would now open these big barn doors. They would take these planks of wood and put them into locks in the door. So those 2 pieces of wood sticking up in the door
Yeah.
right there,
Mm-hmm.
those are called thresholds.
Right there. Wow. Yep.
So then they would take a pitchfork and they would scoop up the grain and the chaff and they'd throw it in the air. And you get a nice breeze through here. The chaff is light and feathery, so it would catch on the wind and blow out, and the grain's heavier, so it would drop. So you would do that over and over until all you had left was the grain.
Wow.
So then they would gather up the grain, they'd put it into a storage area like over here. They could mash that up and make wheat flour. They could use it as feed for animals. They could also sell that. But that's threshing for you guys.
Wow.
Nothing
Can you
too-
imagine?
Nothing too spiritual happened here. We don't have any records of what the plates would have been hidden in, but you just get a sense of the Smiths' life.
Yeah.
They were very hardworking. They had a lot of things to do in order to just live. They definitely did not have time to sit around and make up a story, and they wouldn't in the first place. They had a lot of integrity. And so this is just kind of shows one of the many things that they would do. They would make soap, they'd dye their clothes, they'd tap maple trees to make maple syrup or sugar, they'd make root beer.
Great.
They did lots of things.
That's pretty
outside, so,
amazing. Pretty cool.
yeah.
All right, here we go, guys.
I wanted to go into the grove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 15 minutes total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we might just send you to Grove then.
Is that cool?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Okay.
You'll take this path on in.
Great.
There's a bunch of different paths you can take or benches you can sit on.
Great. So,
Yeah.
anyways, guys, how cool was that experience from the sisters here? I want to say thank you to them. It was fantastic.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, right? You guys go to churchofjesuschrist.org. You can find out more information on there. You can also book a digital tour of any of these sites on there as well if you want to see more. Thank you, sisters from Boston, UK. Such well done. Lovely sisters. Well done. Absolutely. You guys, we are going to make our way into the sacred grove. I'm going to show that to you. Are you guys going to be back at the visitor center when I'm done?
We
Okay,
should
because
be.
your mission president wanted to know the final number of people, so
How
I will
many
let you know.
is
So we have about 557 in here right now,
Okay.
but I'll tell you the total number when we're done. Okay, I'll stop in and let you know.
Sounds good.
Yes,
Thank
have
you,
a good
guys.
time in the
Yes,
grove. It's an
yes,
amazing place.
yes.
It is amazing.
Yes.
So here we go. We're going to go into that grove where Joseph Smith saw God the Father and Jesus Christ, and we'll talk a little bit about that in there. Thank you so much, sisters.
Thank you.
Have a good
Alrighty.
day.
See ya. Guys, how great was that? Here we go. I'm going to be quiet as we walk in because it is a very sacred place. Just to let you know, Joseph Smith was confused about what religion he should join at such a young age. And James 1:5, he read a scripture that says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given to him. Actually, just pray, ask God what your questions are. And that's exactly what Joseph Smith decided to do. And he walked maybe this path that we're on right now. It's beautiful, it's peaceful. And he came into this grove of trees, which is very sacred to members of my faith. And it means several things, that God does still provide miracles. He still provides inspiration, revelation, that the heavens aren't closed, that he loves us and he's still communicating to us, which is a beautiful thing. And that's one thing that this church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, believes in, is that we're led by a living prophet today, just like in ancient times. And the prophet today here on the earth, and if you want more information about that, is Russell M. Nelson, is the prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we believe that he is still receiving revelation, inspiration from God, and is a mouthpiece for God here on this earth. And this is the same route that Joseph Smith, or maybe a route over there, but look how thick it is, took into the sacred grove right here, which is pretty amazing. So we're going to keep walking. You can see some old stumps here. Makes you wonder how hard it would have been to clear this route, right? To clear it up. But here we go. We're going to start getting into the actual grove of trees. And you know, if nothing else, you don't have to believe this. If nothing else, you know, take the same challenge that Joseph Smith did. Ask God for yourself if he's real, you know. Test your own faith. You don't have to believe this. It's what works for me. It's what I believe. And it's a very peaceful thing in my life, and that's grounded me. And if nothing else, it's a great history lesson of the most successful American founded religion, right? Right here, it's absolutely beautiful. Look at the lighting. You guys, the lighting in here is gorgeous. But as soon as we start walking in the grove here, I'm just gonna let you enjoy the sights and the sounds from the sacred grove, which, like I said, is one of the most sacred places for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon religion. So here we go. dropped my phone, you guys. Here we go. We're filming. So very peaceful for me, a great place to meditate and to think and how this has impacted my life. It's a beautiful experience. I'm so glad that you guys could join me on this tour, and one of the places that means a lot to me, that's very sacred. This is a place that helped develop my faith and my belief in God, and has made me into the person that I am today. And I'm glad I could share it with you. I wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope that you found as much peace as I do here. It's a beautiful, sacred place. Like I said, whether you are a believer or not, it still is a beautiful, sacred place and a great history lesson for everybody. You're welcome, you guys. I love you all. Stay tuned. We will be doing some more broadcasting tomorrow. Beardo Weirdo is tomorrow evening. The last one from New York, you guys. Saturday, I head back home to Utah. So we'll be back in the Beehive State with all of the snow, right? We'll be back there and enjoy it. But look at the beautiful leaves here. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day here. Yep, gonna go meet up with Weirdo right now. He is working back in Rochester. This is not that far outside of Rochester. And I'm headed back there now. It's beautiful. For more information, you guys, remember churchofjesuschrist.org. There's also an app that you can download if you want to check out the Book of Mormon. You can find that information out on that website as well. They are also on all social media channels, or reach out to me, DM me, Blaine_48, and I would be more than happy to send you any information that you'd want. I also want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Choffy, Choffy, Choffy.com. If you haven't checked them out, please check them out as well. They definitely help keep the Beardo Weirdo Network afloat. Anyways, guys, I love you all. Let me read this last thing. The Sacred Grove. In the spring of 1820, Joseph Smith entered this remnant of an ancient forest to kneel in prayer. The vision he beheld of God the Father and his Son Jesus Christ initiated the restoration to the earth of the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And one last time, in his own words, I'd actually seen a light, and in the midst of that light, I saw two personages, and they did in reality speak to me. I had seen a vision, I knew it, and I knew that God knew it, and I could not deny it. Joseph Smith. Anyways, guys, from the beautiful Sacred Grove here in upstate New York, I love you all. Thank you. Have a great night. Bye, guys.